Hello, everyone, and good morning. Well, afternoon now. It's just gone 12:01. Thank you for joining today, How to Set a Marketing Budget. We're going to give it a couple of minutes just for everyone to join and be here today. So give it a couple of minutes and then, we'll get started. Few people trickling through. Maybe to just get started, to give me a bit of a feel for what you do and what industries you're in, what businesses you are in. I would love for people to start using that chat box and putting in there what you do, what your position is, what industry you work in. Do you run your own show? Do you work for someone else? If you could put a couple of comments in the chat box, that would be awesome. Wholesale wellness products, design fabric and sewing patterns. Writer. Keep it coming, guys. We'd love to learn more about you so I can tailor this presentation as well for what you're wanting to get out of it. Sole trader, PR, always get asked about marketing from clients. Awesome. Sole business owner, nutritionist, love that. Photographer, product marketing. Awesome. Institutional safeguarding, keeping children and vulnerable people away from safe from abuse. Insurance and family lifestyle advisor. Wow, we've got a real big diversity here, guys. This is great. So keep on putting in the chat box what you do, what industry you work in, and we're going to get started because it's now 12:03. So I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Emma Reeves. I run a business called Excelerate Marketing. It is a marketing agency that was started in June 2020. So we just had our second birthday party, and we are offering marketing services and all things strategy and marketing. And we really focus with small to medium businesses. And we work with businesses that want to elevate their brand. They want to drive new business, and they're looking for that growth. So today, what we're going to cover off. Okay. Whoop. So it's a little touchy. Okay. So what we're going to cover off is a little bit more about who Excelerate Marketing is and the services that we offer. Now, when you're setting a marketing budget, we're going to go through firstly what the market's telling us, then the questions that you've probably got in your head already, then how to make some smarter budget decisions, marketing agencies, friend or foe, case study around behaviour, and then a process of setting a marketing budget. We're going to leave some time at the end for some Q&As, so we can use that chat box again and you can share any questions. So I will try and keep the questions to the end. I'll keep looking at the chat and the feedback from you guys so I can go back and have a look at what some of your questions were, because it's always good to see that engagement. But I'll carry on through the presentation and save those questions to the end, and we'll have some time to answer them. Okay. So let's start by running through who Excelerate Marketing is. As I said before, we are a marketing agency. We offer both the strategy side of marketing, and we also offer marketing services. So these are some of the services that we offer. So we offer digital, social media and email marketing. We offer social media management, content generation, lead generation, video production, the whole range that we really set the business up because firstly, I wanted to help businesses with their marketing strategy and give them the knowledge and the insights into being able to establish an effective marketing function in their business, have a strategy and a plan. And then we'll ask, well, can you help us write the content? Can you help us manage our social media? So we wanted to structure the business in a way where we could offer the delivery of the strategy as well as just the initial forming of it. Where we don't specialize in something ourselves, like say, for example, video production, we would outsource that, but we would oversee the brief and the delivery of that video, and we would then take that content and promote it across socials. So we do offer a lot of this in-house, but then sometimes we partner with some other businesses to be able to offer it. Now let's start with the market. So last year we had Reeves Marketing, who is an advertising and marketing company globally. Actually, they've got quite a large reach. They did a survey of 1,000 marketers, and they estimated that 26% of their budget was squandered. So that's a quarter of their budget basically is being wasted every year. Then in a separate study by eMarketer, they estimated the global digital ad spend hit $316 billion. Now this is just digital, and therefore we can ascertain that it's about $82 billion every year wasted on marketing. Why? Look, we're going to unpack this. We're going to look into a couple of reasons today. But basically, it can stem from not actually understanding your data and your customers, and not actually understanding where you need to invest in your budget initially, and how do you report upon that, and how do you make smart decisions and optimizations to constantly improve, and then increase your spend, but increase them in the channels that are providing you that return on investment. When we're looking at what the spend has been doing over the past couple of years and what it's projected to do, we can see that the next 12 months is looking to surpass any previous year, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. Basically, the next 12 months is going to be some of the biggest advertising we've seen. Some of the questions that you are probably asking: how much do I spend? How much do I even spend on my marketing? And how does that relate to the other aspects of the business? Another question: where do I spend? Oh my goodness, there's so many different channels. Which one do I pick? And then the last one: will I get a return on my investment? If I spend X number of dollars, am I going to get this outcome? And where are the results that can be guaranteed? And where are the other results where potentially is just more of a test and learn, or it's a branding exercise? How do I know where I'm going to get return on investment, and if I will? So let's start to unpack some of these. Firstly, we're going to cover off, how much do I spend? Well, I can tell you that spending more doesn't always mean that you're going to get more. But if you want to use a bit of a benchmark, I like to use between 5 to 10% of the business's gross revenue, and then between 10 to 20% if you're looking for that excessive growth or trying to take your market share. We know that a quarter of businesses' overall marketing budget can be wasted. So we do want to have a look at how much do you spend in proportion to the other costs related to the business, but then also where you're heading in terms of your growth. And we'll cover that off shortly. Where do I spend? What channel do I invest in? Do I need to be everywhere? Do I need to be across my socials? And do I need to be doing Google ads, depending on what my business is? Or do I need to be doing TV? So it's really important to have a look at some of the different channels and understand where is the most important campaign option for me, and where is the non-negotiables, and where are the areas that we could potentially do that test and learn. Something that I actually had a client ask me a few years ago now, and they're actually still a client of mine. They've gone through a few different businesses, but they asked me, they said, would you spend this money if this was your own money, would you spend it? And it kind of took me back a little bit, because I definitely did believe in the option I had pitched them. But after thinking about their comment, I did reiterate and say, yeah, I absolutely would. But the mentality of, would you spend this money if it was your own, was something that really changed my thinking. And it's something that I go into with all clients, whether it's a $5,000 or a $50,000 budget. I absolutely would spend that money if it was my own. And therefore you have conviction and confidence in the decisions that you're making in relation to your budget. And I think when you're working with marketers, or if you are a marketer, you are working with a really transparent mindset and really authentic attitude towards clients' budgets or your own budgets, essentially, when you're thinking of it in that sense. I'll give you some examples of what a spend breakdown could look like. So this one here is breaking the marketing channels into a couple of different areas. So we've got own digital, which website, email, mobile, paid digital, digital ads and search ads. We've got earned digital, social and SEO, offline, partner affiliate and events. So you can see that more than 70% of that budget is just digital. And there's a few different areas in there. So at the end, if you don't know what any of these are, I can talk through them for sure. Or after this, we can feel free to reach out to me and we can organize a separate discussion. But basically what I want to demonstrate here is that you can see that budget is split across not only the different channels, but then the different subsections of those channels. And it's important to establish that, but it's also important to be fluid and to be adaptive to the market as things change. Again, we'll talk through that a little bit later. Where do I spend in terms of potentially your program areas and more from an operational focus? This looks at digital commerce, it looks at marketing operations, so it looks at like the broader marketing function and all the different tangents associated with that. So you've got your analytics, you've got your customer insight, you've got your loyalty program, demand generation. So this isn't looking specifically at the channels, but more around marketing function of programs themselves. The last question I think you might have in your head is, will I get a return on my investment? Now, this is really important because it's crucial to the success, long-term success and profitability of the business when you are investing that marketing budget. Now, I've said here there are some proven methods which generate a steady lead flow and also a more consistent cost per lead. So when you're looking at the cost per acquisition or the cost per lead or the cost per quote, whatever that initial action that you're assuming that individual is taking, that first kind of touch point where you capture their details, whatever your cost to capturing that is, there's some ways where you can actually run on a cost per lead model. So you therefore know what your return on investment is from a cost per lead. But as that customer goes through the journey in the funnel, that the cost per lead of that customer, if you're running that across different channels might have a different performance. Some might have better quality customers and better quality leads than others. So your return on investment, I would really look at the cost of your marketing and then the cost of that customer actually coming into your business. There's different metrics you can use to manage along the way, but to get a really good understanding of your return on investment, you want to really look at bums on seats. Once they're in the door and they're a customer of yours, what is that return on investment and what are the best channels that are performing to drive that? Now, there's going to be some channels that you're probably not going to get that upfront return on investment. A lot of the channels that drive brand awareness and increase recognition are really hard to attribute and pinpoint. When someone watches something on TV, you can often see the spike in lead traffic on the website, but you can't actually directly correlate leads and an ad, especially when you're running multiple channels at once. So it is important to experiment with multiple channels and mediums and strategies to work towards what is working and then increase efficiencies in that space. So we're going to run through now, there's 5 different areas to make some smarter budget decisions. So we've talked broadly about how you can allocate your budget and what some of the questions are associated with setting a marketing budget. And now I want to talk through how to make some of those smarter budget decisions, and I'll run through some examples as well. Firstly, align your marketing dollars to growth. So figure out what your objectives are over the next 6, 12, 24 months. We work with some clients where their objective actually is a growth of their customer base. They actually don't want to attract more business. They are inundated, especially in financial services. We work with a lot of accountants and financial planners, and we find that they're actually inundated with their business. And we do know there's a skill shortage in Australia and globally right now. So there is this match of making sure they have the right resources in place in order to bring new customers on or new clients on. So one of the clients that we work with, their strategy is actually to move their customers through certain tiers of their business so they become a more valuable customer. That's our strategy, and that's one of our main objectives for them. It isn't necessarily growth of their portfolio or their book. I've also put here reviewing the channels that deliver the best return on investment And then also be flexible and be open to being able to make those changes to your budget. Perfect example at the moment is the RBA. They've changed and increased rate hikes 2 months in a row. So if you're in that industry, you might take a couple of different options. You might increase your spend to, if you say, for example, you are a home loan lender and you offer some of the lowest rates in the market. You're an Athena Home Loans or you're a loans.com.au. You might want to increase the marketing budget right now to increase market share, because you have a really strong proposition in market that your rates are staying low and you're helping Aussie home loan owners to refinance their home, or Aussies to get into the home loan market. So you might want to tailor your budget. And right now, you were going to slow down after the end of financial year, but you actually want to reallocate that spend. So align your budget to growth and also be flexible and take into consideration what's happening in the market, what's happening in the economy, so you can take advantage when it's needed. The next one we've got is get closer to your customers. So the best way to get closer to your customers is to understand what their behavior tells us. We have seen a bit of a shift around the loyalty of customers to businesses, especially in the last couple of years, and over COVID it really changed. The ability to demonstrate the values of your business and the business identity that you have is far greater and resonates far more with customers than just saying what your service is and what you do. We're also finding a lot of social media posts and spending budget on potentially video production to get your team or get your customers to talk about your business is a great way to communicate authentically what your brand does and what a difference is in the market. So when you are spending your budget, think about how to get close to your customer. Is it spending it on some qualitative and quantitative data? Is it looking at some different types of campaigns to really demonstrate, like I said, that value? Simon Sinek, it's about the why, it's about what you do and living by purpose. Then we've got consider the buyer awareness journey. Now, this is interesting because we sometimes see marketers focus their attention at that top end of the funnel. So when businesses are going through their marketing plan and looking at that buyer journey, you can see there's customers that start in the awareness. I'll go through the journey. So basically it's awareness, consideration, intent, purchase, loyalty, and advocacy. So awareness meaning I don't really have much awareness of your brand, all the way through to purchase and then advocacy of your brand. So when you are considering your marketing budget, I recommend looking and targeting at those different levels throughout the process. Customers generally spend, the time frame changes, but in terms of the touch points, I've got here 6 to 8, and it really depends upon your business as to what the lead time is. So they might search into Google top hairdressers in Sydney. You might have an ad that pops up. They might go to your website. Then they might look at you on socials. Then you're retargeting them because they've been on your website. Then they go back into Google, top hairdressers in Sydney. So you want to make sure that you are targeting them and you are nurturing that customer all the way through. So you're not wasting your spend at the start and you're spending all that time trying to get that customer in the door, but then you're not nurturing them all the way through. And that's, again, where budget can be wasted. It's important, and the last point here on this slide is good reporting and attribution so you understand how the marketing mix is working. I'll give you an example. When I was previously in a marketing position for an organization, we were running both direct mail campaigns and online email campaigns at the same time, but all the customers were taking the email action. So we weren't sure if direct mail was working or not. So we actually put codes across every single piece of marketing. So every single customer had to enter in the code. And we started to see where the mix of customers were coming from. Was it coming from mail? Was it coming from email? Was it coming from digital? It was really hard to attribute. But what we found by putting on the codes, the shift from we thought email was king, email was delivering most of the leads to the business. As we started putting more codes in the mail, we saw the greater importance of having that initial piece of paper, having a firm piece of paper in your hand, and then receiving an email secondary to that was a huge improvement on, we were able to get the customers to convert at a higher rate, and we're able to better understand where we need to invest in those channels. The next one is create alignment within your organization. Now, I love this, and it's something that I have always tried to do when I'm in a marketing position within an organization. Is it's really crucial, obviously, to drive leads in your business and to create awareness of your brand. But it's also really important to create awareness of the marketing function internally and get internal stakeholders to buy into it. It makes it much easier. I'll give you an example. So I was working for a fintech back in 2019, and we were running a few different marketing campaigns, and we were testing a few different things. And one campaign we invested in, we actually invested an incremental amount of our budget in offering gift cards to anyone that signed up and took a loan with this business. Now, this was great. This actually increased our loan applications significantly. Yay, we're exceeding our target in terms of the loans that we wanted to achieve for this month. But the value of those loans, the actual loan value, was far, far less. So it meant the average loan amount of these businesses was less. So we missed that target. So we're attracting more people, but the value of the loans is less. Why is that? We actually decided to offer anyone who applied for a loan a credit card. And we attracted a smaller type of business. And those businesses actually had probably a higher risk profile to the business. So we in marketing were super stoked. We're generating all these loans above and beyond what we targeted, but it's actually not driving incremental revenue to the business. And actually, when we're speaking with our risk and operations team, it was a higher risk profile, and therefore there was actually a few more loans that would then need to be declined, which affected then our approval ranking. So it was important to work with the risk and operations and the sales teams to firstly manage the conversation of that particular campaign, but also understand the impact of that particular budget, and then if it was going to be profitable for the business long term if we kept on running that. Then the last one I'll take you through is understanding the real cost to serve. Now, this is interesting because you might not be across this as much when you are working with agencies, but they have multiple people on their account. They have people with all different skill sets. They have an account manager, they have a trading desk. And so understanding your cost to serve is the cost to actually deliver your strategy. So if it's just you, you know that that's your resource cost. But when you work with agencies, this is a good question for them. And the other part of this is spending a little bit more time actually on the brief. So spending an extra 20 to 30 minutes in that briefing stage could actually save you time recreating the assets and actually, making sure that what you are delivering is too brief. And that helps you stay within budget. Now, I'm conscious we do only have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to really go through quickly these next few slides. This one here is marketing agencies, friend or foe. So being a marketing agency, I would suggest some of the different questions you could ask them is around their team, but then also it's also what you can give them. So I suggested here sharing insights into your customer data. So it can be anonymous. There are ways that you can provide that information to them. But the better information you provide to them, the more they're going to understand about the customer that they need to bring into your business. Also ask them if they work with competitors. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but if they work with competitors, they understand the market and they understand what it is that's required and needed to market your particular brand or product or service. Green flags. They regularly want to test new creative assets. Yes, great. We want them to be proactive. They have automated dashboards and real-time data. Also great. To my earlier point before around that communication with other aspects of your business, you want to be able to potentially share that with your wider organization and show them the results that you're getting. Regular and prompt communication, super important. You want someone who is diligent. You want to have regular meetings, fortnightly, monthly, and you want to have that engagement with them and that constant communication. Red flags. Upfront minimum retainer with no clear outcomes. 5K, 10K, 20K commitment. Not really sure where that ascertains. Ask the questions, but for me, that's a bit of a red flag. Lack of understanding of your industry. And I've seen this go really wrong when businesses don't understand your industry, especially when it is heavily regulated. Ads could go out with the wrong thing. They could not have disclaimers on them. It's a huge liability for your business if they don't understand your product and more specifically your industry. Last one is high turnover account managers. Now it's hard. I understand we do have some shortages right now, but you want to make sure that you try and maintain at least one person that's a regular in your account. Otherwise, there's a constant transfer of information. That wastes time, that impacts your budget. Now, the next one is just a case study. I'll go through this really quickly. So Faveware, in essence, launched summer 2018, 2019. They spent 20 grand investing in their product. They spent it on photos and videos and their website. They relied just upon influencers and word of mouth to get their product launched and off the ground and to drive sales. And there was no budget. There was no budget for ads, no budget for PR, just no budget to promote. So this brand didn't take off. Now, what they would have done is they said they would have had 10 grand just in month one to invest in ads. So in hindsight, they would have had waited if they had 30K. They would have had a look at the different channels, had a look at the results, the return on investment for those channels, and then they would have gone to market. And I've just put a note in here that service and product-based budgets and marketing are very different. Now, the last slide here is the process of setting a marketing budget. So this slide here is just to demonstrate that budget is a part of your marketing strategy. It is part of having a good foundation. And in terms of foundations as well, I recommend asking yourself a couple of questions about your brand before even getting to the point of having a strategy and having a budget. Does your brand have a consistent look and feel? Do you have the tools and systems in place to measure the success of your marketing investment? Do you have Google Analytics? These type of things are really important before you even get started. In addition to that, do you have your objective set? Do you know if is your objective to increase your website traffic? Do you want to increase your reach and engagement? Do you want to drive new business? Do you want to drive people to a webinar? Do you want to drive people to an ebook that you've created? Do you want, what is the objective of your strategy? And then we can align your budget into achieving that objective. This is just another example of how a marketing budget can look and giving you an idea of the different areas and what falls underneath that. So you can see, for example, advertising, promotions, public relations, events, online and website. And you can kind of see the information that falls underneath those areas. Now, put here, we are pretty much bang on time. So got the go ahead from Business Chicks that we can go over slightly. So hopefully we can allow that time for, say, 10 minutes of Q&A. But these are the key takeaways from today that I'm hoping that everyone got some value out of this and got a bit more of an idea of what the marketing budget, how to set a marketing budget. And I've put here, basically it forms part of a broader strategy. So you want to be looking at, like I said, what are those objectives and what is your strategy and what are you trying to achieve? And then how does your budget help facilitate that? Secondly is carefully consider the marketing mix to invest in and set a budget before launch. You don't want to be in the position where you've spent 20 grand on this investment, but you actually haven't considered what that initial investment into your business needs to be. And then lastly, without a solid marketing function, your marketing efforts will become ineffective very, very quickly. So it won't be scalable and it won't be sustainable. Just a quick note for everyone on here, because we love a Tuesday webinar at 12 p.m. I am tuning up with Yellow Panda. We're running a webinar next Tuesday on all things brand and corporate brand. So I can send some more information and Business Chicks can help send some more information about this. But if you want to get your phone, you can scan the QR code and you can sign up and register. Okay. Q&A. So please use the chat box, put some questions in there, and then I'll use the next 10 minutes to start running through those questions. And yeah, for those that want to leave and had only had half an hour allocated, Thank you very much for joining. I hope you got a lot of value out of this presentation, and I've helped you with setting a marketing budget. Okay, so we've got one question in here so far. How should a services business budget and strategy differ to a product biz? Great question. So the reason I say it's different is, taking that case study, that business owner actually was running a service-based business at the same time. And that service-based business took off, which is why they didn't continue to invest in their product-based business. I find service-based businesses, a lot of the businesses that we work with are heavily referral-based. So the budget for the businesses that we work with is more around your events, is more about establishing your credibility and authenticity of your brand, is probably more around investing in your website. It's less about your Google ads. It's less about potentially some of like your social media ads. It's more about nurturing your existing customers and your existing network for a service-based business. With product-based businesses, you want to look at Google ads are effective across all channels, don't get me wrong. But with a product-based business, you want to look at the different steps to making that purchase. So you want to have a look at, like I was saying before, in terms of they see your ad, potentially then they go to your website, they add something to cart. You want to have that retargeting. You want to invest in having that retargeting in place before they come into your website. So you want to make sure that you are nurturing that journey and that purchase. With service-based businesses, if they have a really good understanding of your business and your brand before coming to you, and that might be through investing more on your website or having video content and having more information about your service, then they are likely to make a faster decision. Okay, we've got Sarah. So for a startup, what's the sequencing for brand strategy, marketing strategy? Okay, great. So with a startup, I would look at what's your projection for growth over the next 12 months. What's the current situation that you're at right now? What is the what is ground zero? What have you found that's existing and working for your business? Now, with Baveware, they had incorrect validation from their friends and family around their product idea. I'm not sure if you've got a product or a service, but their business, they were told this is great, this is going to take off, this is really good, but they didn't have the research. So potentially for your startup, depending where you're at with your development of your product, you might want to spend some time doing some research, or you might want to do, I would allocate probably a broader channel mix, allocating smaller budgets to start testing different USPs and different call to actions for your brand, and test and learn through those channels, not necessarily validation from friends and family. So the last question here, do you mind putting up the process of setting a marketing budget slide? Yes, sorry, it was quite quick. I can jump back to that one. Process of setting a marketing budget. Okay, this here. Great. So this is, some of the different areas. So we, in a nutshell, we actually break it down into 3 really simple areas. We look at owned media, paid media, and partnerships. So we look at owned media being everything to do with your website, your socials, everything that you own as a business. Now we look at paid media, so your Google ads, it could be your paid social ads, and then partnerships and events. So that could be sponsoring an event, it could be attending conferences and those types of things. And then I'd probably put in their PR as well under the partnerships events. So whatever your pillars are and whatever your structures are, I recommend breaking down the different, there's a whole wish list of options essentially. I actually prefer the earlier slides breaking into like the digital and the owned, but it depends on what your business is, and it depends on where you're at with that growth and establishment of your business. So yeah, I would just kind of suggest looking at the different options that you have, the different channels that you have, and then selecting a few of the channels that you're already identifying that your customer is operating on. So if your customer isn't on social media, I wouldn't be running paid social ads. I would be looking at potentially Google ads, or I would be looking at investing in your referral network and your partnership network to generate awareness of your brand. So I think we've run 6 minutes. Got one more question here about, will I be sharing this presentation electronically? Yes, I definitely can. I will speak to the guys at Business Chicks to make sure that we send this out. And I hope everyone got some value out of today. And again, thank you very much for joining, and thank you for Business Chicks the opportunity to speak with everyone and run this masterclass for you. All right, we're going to wrap up.